it's been a long while since I've gotten to talk about Seven Deadly Sins, and especially with the backstory that we got of one of the main characters, Galva, and this one was fucking amazing. I absolutely adored this backstory going into it, as like it's been a while since I've really cared about a Sin's backstory, probably since Ban. Like Ban was like one of my favorites that we've had for a very long time, and to see this backstory, and especially why Galva is the way he is, like, is really, really fucked up, and like you can't help but feel bad for it. And it always is like every theme of like the Sins is the fact that they try, like, that people misunderstood what exactly they try to do, and the one thing that like Galva did, especially like why he got his sin, was really messed up for like most part, as like he literally woke up like it was a who am I, like where am I, he's just in pitch black, and he sees a girl finding him in the darkness, and he just, the first thing he does is literally like run away because he's so fucking terrified. And one of the most interesting is that the character that like is a main part of this story is known as Princess Nadja, who, if people don't know about her, she is actually like the younger sister of like the King of Leonis, alongside, I believe, like that other guy that like sacrificed himself to summon the angel, like Denzel, that really old man. And like you do get to see at first, like when I honestly read the chapter, I thought that was Arthur. I thought like when you saw little kitty out Arthur, I was like, oh shit, like that's him and all that. Because like by the time of this, like this is a remarkable amount of time in the past. This is like maybe like 50, 60 years ago, like seeing from this, and the fact that like you get to see like a little bit more of the explanation, and her just like opening herself up to Galva, and it's just like, you know, like, hey, you know, let's talk, and like let's go, like trying to understand who he is, and the fact that like when they're like, you were found under the cellar of like Leonis, and I was like, why was you down there in the first place? And the fact that like Galva just doesn't know, and he's literally grabbing onto her dress saying, please don't leave me here, I'm really scared and all that, and it's just like, that was something where it's like, oh shit, like Galva's actually quite terrified of what's happening right now, and it's like, he doesn't want to do that. And the fact that like his sister, like when he goes out, he's like, he sees immediately his brother just goes, sister, you why the fuck are you doing that? You shouldn't be going into the cellar like that, like, you know, like you shouldn't be doing that. Because one of the big key parts as well is the fact that she is pretty weak. She has like a very weak heart, and the fact that she shouldn't be doing stuff like that. And the more that Galva explored underneath like what was happening in Leonis, is that the fact that like the Fairies King's forest was under there. And one of the more actually concerning things is that he found the body of a dead old man there. And if people know who the hell this dead old man is, this is the real Galva that we have only got introduced to in the latest chapter. And the fact that he was like, listen to me very careful, this is my very first and final gift to you. Fulfill the dream that I could make come true myself, Galva. And he fucking started crying because of this. He was like, this actually really got to him badly, just seeing this stuff. And when they explained, like, it's like, the real Galva was never able to have freedom. He was always imprisoned, and we've seen a little bit about him, and it's like, wondering, is this like what got him killed, like in the most part? And it's like, did he wipe out the original Galva's memories of this part? Like, is this what was happening? Since like he did slightly remember parts of this throughout the entire chapter, so there was a lot going on with that. And the fact that like she was like, oh well, fuck all of that and all that, I want to give you my treasures, and start making him like give books and stuff like that, and immediately find out, yeah, he knows magic immediately. The fact that he can just change himself like that, and it's just like, he falls on admit, as he knows, like, I was created by a wizard, I'm a doll, and he's just like, look at me and all that, like, see, like, you know, this like, mechanical heart and all that to be my own self and all that. He has a magic heart created for me, like, you know, he used all this magic to like make this thing for me so I can actually have a heart. And she straight up like just like passes out as like her own body just starts going weak, and it's just like, the thing is like, which is weird, where they actually give a shit, like, where, like, the brother, like, the elder brother, he, like, honestly, when you were seeing the chapter, he was like, oh, stay away from my sister, you have bad news, but he actually does give a shit, like, about Galva as well. Like, he was like, you make my sister happy, so that's something. And like, even Galva, like, having his little things where he's like, oh, I'm gonna be a maid, and I'm gonna, like, you know, help you and protect you and stuff like that. And it's just like, you see, like, this little, as they, like, grow up, like, use, like, all this time they spend with each other and all that. It's like, that's all, it was pretty nice where you see, like, you know, the two guys, like, bonding throughout all this entire time. And the fact that Galva gave a shit, where he's like, you know, I'm gonna take you out for, like, you know, a nice journey on a horse and all that. Like, you know, you have, like, you're gonna have, like, a night that you always wanted, and that was the fact that, like, one of the things that was like, it's like, you know, oh, you know, like, hey, I'll make you, like, you sound totally different, and that sound used to sound like Meldor and all that. And he's like, well, you like Meldor, so I'll pretend to be him and all that. And it's just like, and the anything and all that. He was just like, I just want you to like me, always like me and all that, and saying regardless, she was like, I will like you no matter who you are, like Galva, you don't have to be anyone yourself and all that. And the fact that one of the things was nice with, like, we saw, like, Batra, where he was just like, my sister, like, you know, like, was so smiling, she was so happy, and it's just like, please stay by our side forever. That's all I ask of you, Galva. Like, just make her happy. That's all I ask of you. And the fact is, like, you know, like, he knew that he's human, and, like, you know, his heart and his just, like, all of the stuff that he has is just someone's creation, and he's just going to continue to exist while humans have such short lifespans. And one of the things I loved exactly is saying, you know, there's nothing, like, as she was saying, there's nothing different between you and me at all. We both have the same hearts within us, like, no matter what, like, Galva. And it's just like, and he started, like, choking up, like, started crying. He's like, are you going away? Like, and it's just like, you know, ever since I met you, your heart, every day your heart's been getting weaker and weaker, and it's just like, now that's how it is. And the fact that it's like, I want to spend time with you. He's like, you know, you've made me forget about all the things that I was worrying about. And it's just like, when he finally opens up saying, like, your father was also Galva, and it's just like, the main reason why Galva is like this way is because he never had freedom on his own, so he created the doll so he could have his own experiences of the outside world, even while still being, like, imprisoned. We still don't know a lot of the explanations why he was like that in the first place, but, like, he died without ever telling, like, what his dream was, and, like, even with, like, telling him the wishes and all that, and he's saying, like, haven't you made his dream come true already and all that? Like, you can see, like, it's saying, like, you, with your own eyes, you can see, with your own ears, you can hear, with your own hands, you can touch, and, like, you feel, you love, you care, like, that's how it is. And, you know, those two sharing, like, a lovable moment, you know, when they kiss, and, you know, the fact that, like, Galva, like, spent her last night, like, you know, with her, and made it, like, all the dreams that she asked for, and it was really messed up that it's like she literally like passes out like afterwards and dies, like passes away in her sleep, and it's really messed up where it's just like, as he's like, I'll do anything and all that, you know, we have the same hearts, right, and all that, if I bring you my heart and all that, I don't care what happens to me. And the fact that he rips out his own heart and tries to put it in her, and it's really, really fucked up where the guards just find this, like, the princess naked, him just completely covered like that, and shoving his own heart into her, and it's just like, what the fuck and all that. Like, you know, this is what people see at the side of the story, and it's just like, why can't my heart save you, please, and all that, like, don't leave me behind. And this is what people see, and it seems like the only one that kind of actually understood this was, like, kind of Batra. He knew that his sister was dying, but I think, like, even when the fact where, like, everyone was, like, accusing him, saying, you know, you're the doll Galva and all that, you know, you're driven by your own lust, and you attempted, like, force the princess to vile sexuality, it's like, you know, you would die. And the fact that, like, even when, like, Denzel was ready to fucking kill the guy and all that, he was like, he's not that kind of person. Even after, like, seeing his sister done, like, fucked up that way, it's just like, he was like, in the end of the day, she was still smart. In a final moment, she was happy, and, like, that's what Galva tried to do. And the fact is that Galva just went crazy, and was just like, I'll do anything and all that, even I'll give up my own fucking heart. And the fact that he's like, if having a heart hurts this much and all that, then I don't need one. I don't want to remember anything ever again. And it's just like, I want to be a plain old doll. And that's where, like, Galva, where a lot of people was like, people can't understand Galva, because this is why Galva doesn't have emotions, because it was too much for him after losing the one he loved. And it'd be interesting if at some point and all that, like, because it's never, if anything, I really love the story, the backstory, but it never explains what happened to that heart in the end. Like, where is it? You know, like, he did try to put it inside in the princess and all that, but what happened? Like, you know, are we going to see that, or, like, come back at some point, and is Galva going to get some memory? Like, I'd be very curious about that, because that does leave the one thing open in this, like, side story, but it was fucking fantastic. I really love this one, and this is weird where, like, Galva was he wasn't, like, he's nowhere near, like, my favorite Sin out of all of them. I still love Escanor, Barn, like, Meliodas. They're still, like, some of my favorite ones in there. I still think, like, out of all of the backstories, like, probably Diane has the weakest out of all of them, but the fact of the matter is and all that, I really enjoyed that, and it makes me excited that, like, we've got all the backstories of the characters so far, with the exception of like Merlin and Escanor are the ones I really want to know now. Like Merlin ones really excites me. Like I really want to know her backstory, since her one has had a lot of setup for a while. So I think if anything, she's going to be the next one that's going to have a backstory, and then finally Escanor, since it makes sense. Since like all the characters have had their backstories, I believe in order, like from when they were introduced, as far as I was like aware with the exception, I think maybe Barn had his one like afterwards and all that. But even still, all of them have had their like backstories, and I cannot wait for it. And I would highly recommend all that. Like even I haven't talked about Sins in a while. Like I was honestly planning on talking about it again once we finally finished off this like flashback arc. Like once we kind of gone through that. So I honestly have been really enjoying it, and I definitely want to talk about this chapter, and I want to see what the hell you guys thought and all that on this one. But that's all for me. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you guys though next time.